Welcome back from the break. As promised to those of you who were here at the previous talk, and as newly informed to you as those of you who have arrived not having been here at the previous talk, I tend to ramble a lot, which is not good for time management. In the next session we have talks about running your own VPN, and also that follows up with a couple of talks about authentication before the afternoon break. Feel free to stick around for all three, go off and find the talk that's most relevant for you. But right now I'd like to introduce you to Ruben. Ruben's going to be talking to us about privacy and transparency in the VPN industry. He's played a prominent role in several startup software companies, taking them from their early stages to leaders in their respective marketplaces. He has more than 18 years of experience working in different roles that require leadership, strategic thinking, and project management. Ruben currently works as CTO of Manager Cloud and also helps other companies as a technology consultant. When not amongst computers, Ruben practices karate, and he competed in the Kyokushin World Championship in 2018. Please join me in welcoming Ruben. Thank you.
Thank you. This morning, in the first talk, we actually spoke about the oh no moments in technology in different times. And after listening to that talk, I actually think that we are in a oh no moment, at least in what it is the VPN industry. When I do work as a consultant, one of the things that I do is to help teams becoming agile on different countries. So I've been traveling in Thailand, Greece, Armenia, Sri Lanka, Delhi, and as well, I went to China. I knew China. Sorry. I knew about the Great Firewall in China, and as well about the censorship that the country is living. But I never got ready for that. When I arrived to China, and the receptionist in the hotel wouldn't speak any English, I say, look, this is not a problem. I'm going to take the mobile, I'm going to go to Google Translate, and oh, it's not working. Later on, in the same trip, I had to travel somewhere, and I say, okay, that's fine. I take Google Maps, which was not working either. But this is not a problem. I will just install a new application. And the App Store, sorry, the Play Store, it wasn't working either. So I say, look, I really need to learn a little bit about the VPNs and how they work, because I do need one for work. But what I found out in the industry, it is not a pretty picture. If you go to any VPN company that is available right now, you probably will find a schema such as this one. It is great. You install your VPN, and suddenly you are secure all over internet. This is an oversimplified version of what VPN actually is. The reality, it looks a bit more like this one. So you have your device, which it creates this tunnel encrypted to a VPN endpoint. But there is going to be some part of the trip to the real services that you want to access that the VPN has no effect at all. So if you are using an encrypted protocol, somebody can steal access into this communication. So very quickly, I want to run over the advantages. So we have this tunnel, and we have a VPN endpoint that you can choose to locate on different parts of the world. So advantage number one, protects your privacy, because the internet can see the IP of the VPN endpoint, not your IP. And as well, you have one part which it is encrypted, so the ISP cannot see what you are transmitting. Bypass geo restrictions, because that VPN endpoint can be located anywhere in the world. So if you want to access to the services that they are just provided in a country, you just put the VPN end service there. You beat censorship, like in China, that I couldn't access to certain services. But if I have a VPN endpoint outside China, I can access to the internet as usual. save money in hotel and flights. That's how the travel market works. The prices that you see for certain products, it depends on the people who is looking into it. So in some websites, they have those rules set up. So you connect to different countries. You might see different prices for the same product. You can download torrents anonymously because what the internet sees is actually the VPN endpoint IP. You can bypass ISP/SP regulations. If your ISP says, look, HTTP will work fine, but if you're trying to download a torrent, it is going to work slow. If you are using the encrypted tunnel, the ISP doesn't have eyes on what information you are sending, so they cannot apply certain rules. And secure public Wi-Fi, because, well, we have this tunnel. So this is the standard set of advantages of any VPN service that you can find over the internet. So if I am operating a VPN service and you are using this VPN service, what information I can access? Well, if you are not using any encryption, no surprises here, you can actually access to any sort of information. But if you are using encryption, I can always access to the IP of the service that you want to use, to the port. I have the connection times, when you started, when you finish, and I have as well your IP of origin, of course. With the IP and the port, I probably will be able to identify what is the final service or the final website that you are operating, and with the port, what is the service itself. So I can get to know the domain and the company and the service. But HTTPS and the encrypted protocols, they do only work if the client and the server, they are configured correctly. For example, if you have your device, phone, iPad, whatever, and you install a root certificate, your device, it is no longer secure, and your information can be intercepted even if you are using HTTPS. From the server side, we have a set of configurations, such as CORS, HTTP, strict transport security, or insecure SSL versions, where you might not have it configured correctly. And depending on what you have missed in this configuration, it will be harder or easier to perform an attack. But if it is not configured correctly, an attack is possible. So that's the actual point. So we are on these times where everyone is being followed and everyone's information is being collected. George Orwell, 1984. And this is, nowadays, this is actually becoming true. And with all this capability that we got to collect data and all this technology that we have developed to process the information, you can really get meaningful reports for massive amount of data. Just remember Cambridge Analytica. Not an ethical work, but the work was actually brilliant. So nowadays, we want to protect our privacy. Why? Because there are many countries that they are systematically collecting information about their citizens. One example, Australia. In Australia, the ISP, they have to collect metadata about the internet activity of all their citizens for over 2 years. And this information, it is accessible by private agencies. In USA, this is even worse. The ISP can actually sell all your browsing history. But this is happening on many, many countries. And the trend is that the governments, they want to get as much information as possible of our online activity, which it is getting more and more predominant in our lives. Look at this example, Kazakhstan. The government did try a massive man-in-the-middle attack across the whole population. So this works like this. You are with your device, you are in Kazakhstan, you start navigating, and then you have a question. Would you like to install this certificate from Quasnet Trust Network? I love the name. It has the word trust. It's kind of easier, right, to trust it. So I can imagine many people saying, yes, let's do it. Remember what I said just at the beginning. If you install a rogue certificate, people can see your encrypted data. So the people who actually install this certificate, the government will have access, email, passwords, bank accounts, you name it. This attack didn't last long. So they did actually try for 3 days, and the population obviously complained about it. And they eventually just backed off. But we are under this fallacy. And this happens to many of us. Right, so we are in this situation where you cannot trust your ISP because it might be collecting data from you. And you say, OK, that's all right. I don't trust the ISP, but I am going to get VPN services from one company, and I am going to just trust the private company. So when the law of the ISPs in Australia, it happened, many people, they call it like install the VPN day, if I recall it properly. So that was the thinking. We believe that a private company has a reason to actually protect our data. And now we are going to get in examples and in numbers. Ola VPN. OK, you have Ola VPN. You install it in your mobile. And you will have traffic from other users on that VPN network going out of your mobile. Hotspot Shield. You are using Hotspot Shield, you will enjoy extra advertisement that might pop up. Hide My Ass. That's the name of the company. I saw some laughs there. That's actually a very popular service, and this is one of the worst cases that we got until now. They did provide information to the FBI, so one of their users could be condemned. I went to the Hide My Ass website not long ago, and they still promising that they don't log your IP address and so on and so forth, which is kind of surprising. Opera Free VPN. Well, it's not a VPN. It is a web proxy. Nothing wrong with a web proxy, but they should call it by its name. Pure VPN, similar case. They gave information to the FBI about the activity of one of their users, which it is against of what they promised. And again, I access to the website, and they still say that they have a military-grade encryption to protect you, and so on and so forth, which it is useless in this case. So VPN Secure, 2016, well, the VPN wouldn't work. The IPs will leak, so not so much privacy that you could get from them. And as well, they were using the devices just to get information out of it. SendMate, similar case, IP leaks, meaning that it doesn't work correctly, and your information, it is not protected. Facebook on Avo VPN. OK, so this is actually one of the interesting ones. So you have Facebook, which it is a company that profits by selling private data. Yet, they offer a VPN to help you to protect your private data. It is kind of hard to believe, that yeah, that can happen. Facebook research, 2019. Facebook research, it was an application that they were paying users so the users will install it. If you install Facebook research, it actually was a VPN which would install you a rogue root certificate. And as I said at the beginning, if you install a rogue root certificate, your device is not secure. But this is an app. So it will have access to all the network information that you are running in your mobile. So yeah, well, TechCrunch in 2019, they raised the problem, and they contacted with the Apple Store, and they did remove the means for Facebook to keep distributing this application. So that's the thing. We are living in capitalism. Private companies, they do want to make money. This is how it works. So you need to check on the conflict of interest. Private information, it costs money in the market. It has value. For example, if you have free VPNs, how are they going to get profit out of it? Do you really think that there are hundreds of free VPN applications in the App and Play Store, and they are getting no money out of it? If you don't pay for the product, you are the product. And this is kind of universal law in capitalism. So some numbers. I have checked 2 reports, one from 2016, the second one from 2019. Numbers are scary in both reports. One of them, they check 283 free VPN applications and 20 paid applications. The one of 2019, 150 free applications. So I handpicked some information from the reports. 59% of the free VPN applications in the Play Store and the App Store, they have hidden Chinese ownership according to that report. Think about this for a second. Chinese ownership. It is a country where the VPNs are banned. Yet, there are many, many companies that they offer free VPNs. They must be monetizing it. I think it is very unlikely that so many companies, they are working without a profit in mind. 86% of the apps have hidden policy flaws, which they had no private policy, or it was a generic one, or they just said anything about what they are doing with the data that they are collecting you. 85% represent excessive permissions functions that might lead to privacy abuses. For example, it is a VPN application, right? You need access to the network. That's pretty much it. Why would an application request access to the microphone or the camera or to read the state of the phone? So you pick up your phone, you have a call, you pick it up, and the VPN application knows who is calling you, what is your phone number. They can access to the serial numbers of your mobile and your devices. And we are talking about applications that represent 518 million downloads. In the first 6 months of 2019, it was downloaded 260 million times. There are applications that they have 4-star ratings, 5-star ratings, and you still have access to those applications today. According to the research report, they did contacted Apple and Google, and they expressed their concerns about the findings, yet the companies have done nothing about it. Look, we never had so many companies selling privacy, but it's likely that we are going to need to change how we do things. And the laws, and if you want to upload a privacy application related with privacy on the stores, you know that they might have extra rules or something like that, but right now, it's very scary. Are VPN companies needed? Well, the easiest thing, it will be, yep, I am not going to use a VPN company, so I am safe. That's fantastic. All of you are technical people. Any of you has the capability to install your own VPN. But not all the people have such capability. We need to find a way where the people with non-technical skills can access to the privacy features that they are being offered by VPNs. How can we improve the VPN market? I strongly believe that transparency and privacy, they go hand in hand. You cannot promise privacy to somebody if you don't have transparency on how you actually operate. You have to be fully transparent. That's part of the deal. Yet, the companies and the VPN companies, they have no transparency, as you can see. Open source, they do provide transparency. You are telling how you work. Look, that's the code. That's how things work. It is a great step in transparency. Probably more things has to happen to be fully transparent, but this is a huge step forward. So I believe that the VPN companies, they should be open source. So people with the right skills, they can access to the source code of the applications, and they can evaluate, and they can see that things are working fine. So when we have all this marketing running through all the VPNs, at least we can have as well the technical view that, yeah, this VPN, it is protecting you as it should. So on 2019, I have worked on an end-to-end solution for a VPN company. I have called it the VPN Company.com.au. I am not marketing. So it comprises front-end website, service configuration, orchestration technology, and monitoring systems. So this is just an overview of the architecture, right? So I think that the most relevant thing on this architecture, it is the monitoring system. So all those VPN companies, they promise you, well, we are collecting no information about you on what you are doing. You cannot operate an infrastructure as complex as this one if you are not collecting data at all. It is just impossible. You need to know how the VPN servers are doing. Are they out of capacity? Or not? How many clients are they accessing? It is one client who is using all the bandwidth, or there are several ones. In the VPN company, we have a free tier, okay, that is 500 megabytes, right? People can use it for free. That means that the monitoring system knows when somebody has connected, who is the user, how much information and how much traffic they have downloaded. And any other company that has that sort of tiers, they have to have things like that. So you need to collect some information on how it works. So this is just an interesting thing that I found when I was developing. And it is that sometimes when you are using a VPN, you might go to Netflix, for example, and it tells you, well, you are connecting from a VPN, so you cannot reproduce this video, right? So two ways that I have found that it can be done. One of them is that there are IP databases on the internet, two IP types. One of them provided by the ISP. Those ones are the IP ranges of my clients. The second one, there are companies that are classifying every single IP, if it is a data center, or if it is a public IP or something. So that's the number one. And the second one, it is via an MTU signature. So The different VPN networks, they do change the VPN of the packages to a default values, and you can use it to identify if the connection has run over a VPN network. The MTU is not designed for that, so I don't really know how accurate it will be on a production environment, but I have done tests myself, and it actually does work. So for you, technical people, if you want to have your own VPN server, you don't have to install it from scratch and just read everything. There are 2 projects that they have the install scripts, Ansible, and some other automation things that will help you out to put all a VPN server in place with easy instructions on how to use it. And if you want to create your own VPN company, that's the website and the GitHub address. I would really love to see your comment, feedback, code over this project that we are running. And well, that's my contact information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ruben. We've got a lovely James here helping today, carrying the microphone around. So if anybody has any questions, put your hand up proudly. And in about 5 minutes, we'll have you in if you can make your way over here. Thanks. No questions?
Any questions?
There's you in the room. This one.
Yeah. Cool.
So with your VPN, what protocols do you sort of believe in or using, say, with your own VPN? Is it based on Wireshark, or is it going to be sort of?
Well, there are protocols. There are many different types of protocols. WireGuard is actually recommended, but it is one of the newest ones, so it yet has to prove itself. OpenVPN, it is the classic one, and because it's been running for so many years, it has security issues in the past that people have found. So that's a balance on what you prefer to use. The VPN company, right now, it is set up with OpenVPN, but I would expect to install other servers in the future.
I was just looking at your website. Is this a sample company, or is this an actual company you're running?
Well, it is a sample company / actual company. So all this stuff, I do believe that when you build software, the best way to see if it works is actually running it. So I have created the open source project, and I have the company. If you access to the website, you have the link to fork me on GitHub in one of the corners. But yeah, you can potentially sign up and use it, or you can create your own. So it is an actual service, yeah.
Hello. I was just wondering, I see you use the cloud. What cloud do you use, and do you know if they log all the IPs or whatever?
Well, you can use, when you're talking about the VPNs, normally the companies tend to use the cheap providers. So in this particular case, we have set up a DigitalOcean to run the servers. In DigitalOcean, it is well known. So you try, for example, to access Netflix, it is unlikely that it is going to run because all the IPs are known. So you really want to use those sort of services, you will need to access suppliers that they are well known. So you have better chances that their IPs are not classified. But any supplier will do, and obviously depending on how much you spend into that, in the servers, you will have better quality.
Thank you.
Interesting talk. Because your company is Australian-based, you could be forced by the law enforcement agencies to breach the privacy of your customers without them knowing. Are you aware of that?
Well, yes, I am aware of that. I also have on the website, that the best way to be secure is actually not break the law. So yes, I am aware of that.
I have a question. Do you have a canary on your site?
No, I don't.
Oh, whoops.
But that's a good idea.
Okay.
All right, let's all give Ruben a huge big thank you.